Okay, this is the Ardibil Carpet, and this was made in 1539 to 1540. It is silk on wool for the materials. It is currently at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. There is also a twin of this carpet that is a much smaller version, and that's at Lochma. They cut it down a little bit, the Lochma carpet that looks very similar to this, but the other one is in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, and I saw that last year, so I have a few pictures that I took from last year. It's a huge carpet, and so it was from a matching pair from the funerary mosque of Shaikh Safi al-Din, and it was probably made when the shrine was enlarged. It was intended function as a prayer carpet. There is a medallion in the center, which perhaps represent a dome with 16 pendants. The mosque lamps hang from two of the pendants. One lamp is smaller than the other. The larger lamp is placed further away so that it would appear the same size as the smaller. There are corner squinches, also have pendants, completing the feeling of looking into a dome. So this is the world's oldest dated carpet, and we know the date because it's actually inscribed on it. The wool carpet was probably woven by 10 people, more likely men. Women did weaving in this period, but the importance of the location and the size of the project indicates that men were entrusted with its execution. Carpets were produced at every level of society of the Islamic world, and they would be made by men or women at their home for their own personal use, and others were made for royal residences that not only functioned as floor coverings but elevated the status of the owners. Carpets would be used in reception halls, audience chambers, and at court supported religious institutions. Large rugs like this one would cover their floor, and people would eat or sleep on them, and then often covered the floor of the mosques. Usually they were donated. Sometimes they were hung on walls, which would help preserve warmth for the winter. Smaller prayer rugs would be used for prayer or also made for gifts. Carpets were sold and traded in Islamic lands, and then also we see them as far as Europe and China. So that shows kind of the importance of these carpets. Court carpets, though, are very different from the personal use carpets. Rather than using only traditional motifs, they often share designs found in books or manuscripts. So this is the person who designed this is the Maqsad of Kashan. Carpet making workshops were established in Isfahan, which is, remember where that one mosque was, and Kashan that produced large, costly carpets. Designs typically centered around a medallion that could represent a sun or a star, or garden carpets that would represent paradise. This particular rug is famous because of its age, the highly skilled technique, and it functioned as a prayer carpet. So it dates from the 10th century from the Safavid Empire. It also has geometric and natural designs. The carpet gets its name, Ardibil, from the town in northwest Iran. And it was made, as I said before, as a matching pair for the shrine. And as I said before, the twin is in Lochma. The medallion in the center there has a dome with 16 pendants, and also something that's significant about this is that Safi al-Din was a Sufi, an Islamic mystic saint, and after his death his following grew and his descendants gained power, and one of his descendants is the Shah. He seized power and united Iran and then established Shia Islam as the religion of Iran. Okay, so this carpet here I can give you a few more pictures to give you some of the details of the designs, but I wanted to show you the picture I have from, this is inside the Victoria and Albert Museum. And one thing that's really unique about this is that usually when you see carpets displayed in museums, you can see like in the background how it's either on the wall or it has just like a gate or a small barrier around it to make sure people don't actually walk on it. But this one's actually enclosed in a glass case. And then if you notice the lighting here, I don't know if you could see at the top, but there's lighting, and it's only lit for every 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 15 minutes after 2 hours. And they do this because they don't want any more of the light to damage the colors of carpet. So I'm sorry, it's 10 minutes and it's every hour and a half. I said that wrong. The Ardibil carpet is also of great historical importance. There's a small panel at one end that has the date of completion, which is given the year of 946 on the Muslim calendar, but that's equivalent to 1539 and 1540. The text also includes the name of the man in charge of its production, which is Maqsud Kashani. The carpet is remarkable because of its beauty. It has white silk, warp, and weft, and a pile is knotted in wool is 10 colors. The single huge composition that covers most of the surface is clearly defined against the dark blue ground, and the details of the ornament, the complex blossoms, the delicate tendrils, are rendered with great precision, and this is due to the density of the knotting. There's more than 5,300 knots for every 30 centimeters square. So the surface of the carpet is covered in a single integrated design, which is an impressive feat because of the size of the carpet. The basic design is relatively simple and its components are well balanced. Richness and variety are added by the use of contrasting background colors and the subtle differences between the filler patterns. It is composed of 4 parallel bands. It surrounds a huge rectangular field which has large yellow medallion in the center. The medallion is then surrounded by a ring of painted oval statues, and a lamp is also on either end. The centerpiece has 4 pieces and is similar in composition but without the lamps. Okay, so the 2 lamps shown hanging from the centerpiece are different sizes. Some people think this was done to create perspective effect. So if you sat near the small lamp, both would appear to be the same size. Yet there's no evidence that this type of perspective was used in Iran in the 1530s when the carpet was made. What's more is the lamp themselves are shown as flat shapes rather than as 3-dimensional objects. Another view is that the difference is a deliberate flaw in the design. So instead of having the 2 lamps be equal size, it's thought to be deliberate, reflecting the belief that this carpet can't be perfect because God alone is perfect. The filler patterns, each pattern of the design is filled with one of the types of scroll works, and then it has fantastic flowers or leaves. In some, there are also symmetrical snaking forms that are to represent clouds. The largest and most complex of those patterns cover a dark blue background on the main field, and here 2 sets of scrolls are laid one up top of the other. As with the lamps, however, there's no attempt to create a sense of depth. The flatness of the pattern matches the flat surface it decorates. This harmony between the shape of an object and its decoration is characteristic of much of Islamic art and is something that is greatly admired in Islamic art. This density allowed the designers to incorporate a great deal of detail, but making such a large carpet with so many knots would have taken a team of skilled weavers several years. Up to 10 weavers may have worked on this carpet at any one time, and then we think, like as I said before, the weavers may have been men. The weavers would have worked from drawings provided by a specialist designer. The patterns are generally symmetrical, but there are often small differences between the two halves. This suggests that the drawings showed the overall pattern required, but not the color of each knot. The pattern includes 10 colors. The wool was dyed in batches using natural materials such as pomegranate rind and indigo, so the shades vary slightly. For example, the blue background appears to ripple where darker and lighter batches of wool were used. The direction of the pile shows that the weavers began at the end with the smaller lamp, and then the colors are best viewed from this end. Let's see. Also, the completion of the carpet is marked by a four-line inscription that we talked about before. The first two lines are poetic quotations that refers to the shrine of the palace as a refuge. And then the third line is a signature, which is the work of a slave of the portal, Maqsud Kashani. Maqsud was probably a court official charged with producing the carpets. He was not necessarily a literal slave, but called himself one to express humility, while the word of portal could be used in the royal court or a shrine. Perhaps Maqsud meant both, as in the court, this is the patron of the shrine. And then the fourth line contained the date. So why was the carpet made? One of the main sites in the town of Ardibil in northwest Iran is the shrine of the Sheikh Safi al-Din Ardibil, who died in 1334. And after his death, the followers remained loyal to his family, who became increasingly powerful. In 1501, one of his descendants seized political power, united Iran for the first time in centuries, and established Shia form of Islam as a state religion. Ismail is the founder of the Safavid dynasty. The Safavids ruled without a break until 1722, and then promoted this shrine as a place of pilgrimage. In the 1530s, they enlarged the shrine, and it was at this time that the carpet was made as one of the matching pair. Here's another picture of the Ardibil carpet. You can see kind of more of the details. You can also see how large it is in comparison to a person standing. And I think that's it for the Ardibil carpet.